feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. If you're my previous subscribers, welcome back to today's channel. So for today's video, we're going to be focusing on the 2022 midterm governor election results and kind of gather the information and see potentially who's going to win the governor races. I'm not exactly sure what this video is going to entail, but it's going to be a multitude of different races all in one video. So if you just want to see a specific race, feel free to go into the timestamp in the description below or in the comment section. It will be timestamped there. But if you're here with me live, welcome guys. I'm so happy to have you all. Let's just begin. We have a lot to get through. We have a lot of states, and all these states are competitive, including we're going to cover New York, Texas, Georgia, Arizona, you name it. Hi Paul, what's up my love? So, this video is being recorded on November 7th, 2022 at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys have not voted, go and vote. Tomorrow is the last day of voting before the polls close. I plan to vote tomorrow. You have some quick disclaimers on your screen right now. Feel free to read them on your own time. Please keep in mind this video is just for entertainment purposes only and for education purposes only as well. And here are some quick other disclaimers. All right, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this, but we're going to come and try to figure this out as we go. Hi, Rai. What's up, my love? You must be new. Are you new here? I've never seen you before, unless you changed your username. Okay, so while we're waiting for everybody to kind of settle in, we're going to... oh, there it is. I was so lost. I was trying to find where everything was. Okay, yeah. So quickly before we do start, while we're getting people in, I want to let you guys know that I am going live tomorrow for a 2022 midterm election live watch party. And we're going to be playing MSNBC in the background. So if you guys are interested, definitely make sure you hit the notification bell right here. You see the notification icon. Make sure you click that, and you'll be notified when I am live. I will be live tomorrow at 7 p.m. So I hope to see you all there. Okay? It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I'm hoping that we're going to have a special guest. Yeah, so that is in the list, actually. I think that might be the first one. So let's take a look. Well, it's the second one, so we'll get right to it. All right, so first, we have Wisconsin, Tony Evers versus Tim Michael. Now, I really don't know a lot of these candidates, so it's going to be very, whatever the energy is. Right, so I wouldn't even know the Democrat or Republican. I only know the famous ones like Stacey Abrams, Greg Abbott, stuff like that. Other than that, I don't even know who these people are. So, yeah, let's get into it. So I've been feeling lately that I was going to use and should use the big right away because it's a lot bigger, and these races can really make the difference, specifically when it comes to a lot of people's lives. And I feel like the best way to really anticipate that is to use big cars, right? Bigger is always better, they say. You can see the size difference here. Oops. Okay. Hi, Alma. What's up, my love? Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, look at this. This is so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's so kind of you to say. So, Spears Angels tell me in the state of Wisconsin with Tony Evers versus Tim Michael. Who is going to win, or where's the energy heading right now in the state of Wisconsin? We have the Republicans versus the Democrats. Okay. These cards are so big. Like, this would be for like a giant. Okay, so we have the left side here and the right. Yeah, so we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have the 6 of Wands here. And the 6 of Wands really indicates victory, a complete cycle. You ever seen the angel number 666? This is what this is indicated. It does not mean the devil or whatever kind of crazy thing that is being put forth by the Catholic Church. But in this aspect, it is symbolizing victory. Now, the question remains is, since it popped up on the left side, it is indicating that the Democrat in Wisconsin governor's race is going to win. We're going to explore that right now. However, we do have on the right side here, we do kind of have it the toss-up, right? And so what this indicates to me in terms of energy, it feels like there's two scenarios here. The scenario is that the first scenario is that there's a declared winner for the governor's race in Wisconsin, but then it goes to a recount. The second scenario is that there's a winner declared, but then it is challenged or the person does not concede and claims fraud. So I feel like in a way there is a winner, but then it's being challenged, which is kind of why you see this like vote going through the wavy thing. It's almost like it's constantly challenging the voters' will to be able to elect your own leaders. Right? And we have the two of swords. It feels like it's not going to be, cut and dry. It feels like there's going to be a big enough margin to know that whoever is the declared winner in the state of Wisconsin is going to, be the outright winner. So even if they lose a couple of votes when it comes to the recount, it won't be enough to change the governor's race. So whoever is declared winner in Wisconsin, I see them maintaining the win and not losing it. So that is what I see in the state of Wisconsin. So we don't have a victory for either party, but whoever is on top will end up the one becoming governor in Wisconsin. You live in Arizona? Yeah, that's actually in the list, so we're going to do that too. Okay, so the next state we have here is the state of Oregon, with Tina Kay and Christine Dragon. Oh, I don't even know. These people have weird last names. It drags me. Okay, so Spears Angels Tommy in the state of Oregon. In the state of Oregon governor's election. The state of Oregon governor's election. We have Tina versus Christine. Who is going to win, or how is the energy going into the Oregon governor's race? It's very competitive right now. So can you kind of give me the story here? In the state of Oregon. Thank you. They're like, look at these cards. You know what I mean? That's basically what they're telling me. Okay. So we have here is telling me that in a way what the polls were doing in Oregon, it kind of feels like it's kind of in a way it was manipulated. It feels like the Oregon polls are manipulated to make it look and appear as if, there are more Republicans or the race is very competitive. And the goal here is it was designed to get out the vote for Republican to elect a Republican governor in Oregon. And that's really what it is. Because remember, a lot of people in the state of Oregon, especially Republican, are disenfranchised voters because they feel like their voice isn't being heard in the state as it leans heavily Democrat. However, with the polls showing, it's going to get out and drive out turnout in the state of Oregon when it comes to the Republican Party, exactly the recipe that the Republicans need in order to win the governor's race, but also the districts in Oregon. And that will hold a lot of the things going on now. Yeah, definitely make sure you guys hit the like button and make sure you, definitely engage with this video. It's definitely going to help me out a lot. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. We're going to do Texas. We're going to do them all, okay? No worries. Okay, so the next card that we have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 9 of Wands reversed. And this is indicating for me in the state of Oregon, it's indicating it's not as close as you would initially think. And that is because, like I said, the polls were manipulated. However, we do have the Oregon race here. I don't see a person being called on election night. I don't see a winner on election night. We do have here, there's potential of claims of, like I said, claims of voter fraud in the last reading here. I do see here in Oregon there's going to be claims of voter fraud, but I don't see a recount, so it's not going to be close enough that there's a recount. We do have the Knight of Wands. Now, when I say a recount, I'm talking about how automatically it goes into a recount, does not institute whether or not a candidate will force to recount. That's different. But this is just by natural election laws. We have the Knight of Wands reversed, and the Knight of Wands reversed is telling me going away from the incumbent party. Voters moving away from the incumbent party, which I believe, if I'm correct, is a Democratic governor. And I don't see enough voters switching to the Republican candidate. We do have here the Tower card. There's going to be no upset. I don't see the Oregon having an upset here. I'm going to say the Democrats going to maintain control However, there is a little side effects here. Even though the governor going to maintain control, there is going to be a scandal that removes them anyway. So this is the incumbent in power. This is the incumbent out of reverse. It tells me here the incumbent out of power. Let me just double check with that right now. Spiros Angel, tell me about the Oregon governor's race. Is the incumbent going to be out of power even if they win re-election? We have here the page of stories, and the page of stories is indicating to me right here, and specifically, it is indicating here that, kind of like the vaccine type of thing, whatever it is going on in terms of the healthcare system in Oregon, it could be very detrimental. However, that does also help the Democrats. So it depends on how you look at it in terms of perspective here. We do have the judgment card. I feel like in a way, I don't know exactly what's going on in the state of Oregon, but in the state of Oregon specifically, it is indicating to me that even though abortion rights is a top issue for a lot of people, it's not the top issue. Not just because people feel like they're walking off a cliff or they're walking off the edge of where economic turmoil is just right ahead of them. It feels like in a way in the state of Oregon for Oregon's people who live in Oregon, I don't even know how to say they're like, New Yorkers or stuff like that. I don't know what it's called in Oregon, but it feels like in a way that people are living right above poverty. And it feels like in Oregon, economy is everything in Oregon. And in the end, I don't see a removal from the election. However, people are going to make their voice heard. So it's going to be close, but not too close where it forces a recount. So I think the Democrats going to maintain control here. If it's a Democrat, if it's a Republican, then the Republican maintain control. Okay, the next state we have here is Nevada. Oops, wrong one. In the state of Nevada here. So in the state of Nevada, we have Joe Lombardo versus Sisolak. If that's even how you say it. Ooh, I don't know. Okay. So what do you guys think of the of the reading so far? You guys vibe with it? What is your energy? What is your intuition telling you? I'm just reading energy right now. I'm not really projecting an outright winner because it is very hard to do that. Although sometimes, if I feel intuitively very connected, it's a lot easier to do it than just say no. You know what I mean? Okay. Who do you guys think is going to win in the state of Nevada's governor race? I have no idea who these people are, so I don't even know if they're one Democrat or Republican. No idea. Okay. Spirit saying determining the state of Nevada governor's race was Joe Lombardo versus Steve S. What is the energy like in the state of Nevada? Nevada's governor race. You're the Democrat versus the Republican. What's going on now? Thank you. Okay. It feels good? Okay, good. Okay, so we have the 2 of Wands here on the left side here. And the 2 of Wands here is indicating, but I feel like the incumbent governor in Nevada is going to lose. And the reason for that is I feel like their passion is no longer in it. I don't feel like their ambitions is what is going to drive out people enough to actually vote for them. Now, there are 2 scenarios here. This is the first scenario. The first scenario is I see with the 2 of Wands here that this person has a lot of ambition. What they want is, even if they win the governor's race, they're going to move on and plan to go up. Maybe they're going to go to the Senate. Maybe they're going to go to the presidency. However, this person has strong ambition. If they lose the governor's race, then they're so going to be looking outward. In a way, it almost feels like it's guiding them on the next path in life. And I feel like this might be indicated through the incumbent governor. I don't know who that is. I don't know if it's a Democrat or Republican. But it feels like, in a way, this person has strong ambition, whether that is to gain up in the political career or maybe to pursue a different career outside of politics. We do have here, however, we do have the Page of Pentacles. I do see someone new in the governor's race, which probably indicates the incumbent governor is going to lose the governor's race, is what it feels like. But we have the Page of Pentacles, And the Page of Pentacles in this aspect is indicating to me that there is a new leader, a new person in charge, someone with brand new policy, brand new perspective, a kind of like a fresh renewal for the people who live in the state of Nevada. So that is what I see in the state of Nevada. Paula, I haven't read on Texas just yet. This is Nevada right now. Okay. In the state of Arizona, we have Katie Hobbs versus Kari Lake. I believe Kari Lake is the Republican and Katie Hobbs is definitely the Democrat. I know that for sure. Kari Lake must be the Republican. Okay. Okay, so Spirit Angels will tell me about the energy in the governor's race in the state of Arizona. Katie Hobbs versus Kari Lake. Who's going to win? What is the energy overall looking like for the governor's race? Okay, so the card's actually flew out, but I'll take it because there's two cards here. We have the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups card is indicating overwhelming voter turnout. There's going to be a high voter turnout. So this is going to indicate here is where is Arizona going forward? Where is Arizona going to be trending? Is it going to be trending to the Democratic Party or is it going to be trending to the Republican Party? And this is what the Ace of Cards is indicating here. It is also indicating here that the result is going to be challenged. And it feels like in a way we'll not know who the winner is until very last minute. And it feels like to me that there's going to be a leader who is going to be leading in like the entire vote count. Then there's this big last minute election vote count and it swings the opposite way. And we have the Hermit card, right? You know, when things seem dark, there's always a light at the tunnel. There's something positive. And at the end of the card here, we do have the Eight of Cups reversed, would indicate this person's not leaving. So I don't know if Katie Hobbs or Kari Lake is the incumbent here, but if I am correct, it might be a Republican currently in charge, which probably indicates that this might be Kari Lake who wins the governor's race. But let me double check with that. Right now, my hands are very like powdery and oily. It's weird. No, it's okay, Paula. No worries, love. We're going in order, kind of where the most competitive to the least competitive. And so the last two are going to be Texas and New York. Okay, so Arizona, Spirit and Angel Tommy. For Katie Hobbs versus Kari Lake. Who are you talking about here with the Ace of Cups and the Hermit? Is it the Democrat or the Republican? Okay, so we also have the Ace of Cups here. So this is indicating, I feel like in a way, it's indicating to me that the Democrats might lose. Are the Democrats going to lose the state of Arizona's governor's race? Yeah. So we have the Republican here, but this is the Republican. We also have the Democrat here. So final card. I'm gonna actually what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna give one card for each. Whoever has the better card is the victor. You might even have a victor, just so you know. We might even just have a toss-up. Get it so up to the people who come out to vote tomorrow. Okay, Spirit Angel Tommy, please give me a card for the Ace of Cups reverse for Katie Hobbs. Is she going to win the governor's race in Arizona? Okay, Spirit Angel Tommy, for Kari Lake in the state of Arizona's governor's race. Is she going to win the governor's race in Arizona? Okay, let's see. So for Kari Lake here, we have the Ace of Cups. We have the Two of Swords, right? People are still having to make a decision here. And a challenge by the Queen of Wands being put forth as the governor of Arizona. So people are really thinking about, okay, how will she govern in Arizona? She will be one of the first female governors, I think, in a long time. Not sure about about Arizona's governor's history, so I don't know. But I feel like she will be making history in some way in Arizona if she was to win. Same thing goes to Katie Hobbs because they're both females. So that just keep that in mind. We do have the Justice card reverse for the Kari Lake, who is the Republican, I think. Yeah, she is. I just remembered. Yeah, and then we have the Empress card reversed here, which indicates kind of off the throne. And next also has the female card. The female. She's not going to win the female vote. I think that's particularly because of her stance on abortion. I don't know what her stances are, but I feel like it's going to be your typical generic anti-abortion rhetoric. And then we do have the Tower card. And the Tower card normally indicates an upset, removal of power from government. Now, this has two meanings here. This can mean that because the Republicans are currently the governor in Arizona, that they lose power and Katie Hobbs wins. This card can also indicate that she caused an upset and wins in governor's race. But if I'm going to really make a determination here, what seems to be most likely outcome out of the two, I'm going to say Katie Hobbs wins and causing an upset, removing the Republican from power. Because if you think about it, all the polls right now are saying that Kari Lake is leading and they're expected to win. So the upset would be for the Democrats. So I'm going to say Katie Hobbs is going to win Arizona, but it can easily be that scenario right here where Kari Lake defies all the odds, kind of like surprises everybody, even though she's expected to win. I don't know how that will work, but she surprises people and she becomes governor and, stuff like that. But in the end, I do think Katie Hobbs had the better shot at the governor's race in Arizona. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do, our governor now is Republican. These two are new. Okay, yeah, so the party in power is the Republican. Thank you for that. Okay, so now the next one we have is Kansas. These are some of these states are either very blue or very red. I chose these states because I feel intuitively they're going to be more competitive than expected. So I put these on the list. Okay, so Kansas. Laura Kelly versus Derek Schmidt. I feel like I'm saying a curse word when saying that word, but it's not. Anyway, let's begin. So Spears Angel Tommy in the state of Kansas governor's race, Laura Kelly versus Derek Schmidt. Who's going to win in Kansas governor's race? Okay. Hi, Irene. What's up, my love? How are you doing? We have the Ace of Cups. I feel like abortion is such a big issue in Kansas right now. I feel like the Democrat is going to win. Whoever the Democrat is, either if it's Laura Kelly or it's Derek Schmidt, whatever the Democrat is, I have a feeling they're going to win. All right, it's not going to be as close as expected. I feel like it's going to be a kind of like, oh, it's a surprise, but it's really not a surprise. Because I feel like they won before. So I feel like the Democrat is an incumbent governor in Kansas. And I think they're going to win re-election. If that is true, don't quote me on it. I just feel that. And this card is indicated here. The Republicans thought they could fight, the voters and try to make them side with the economy, inflation, and stuff like that. However, the voters reject that. They're not going to go with the new candidate. They're going to stick with the same old. They're going to go with the status quo. So whoever is the current governor, or if it is the current party in power, even if the governor is resigning or is no longer running again, whoever the party is in power in Kansas is going to continue winning. So if it's the Republican, then the Republican's going to win. If it's the Democrat's going to win. Whoever is currently in control of the governorship right now in Kansas. Okay. These cards seem to be really good. I really like reading with these cards. I never really read with them before. I don't even think I've only used them like once or twice. Okay, so Spears Angel Tommy in the state of New Mexico. Micheal Grisham versus Mark Ronchetti. Please, I don't even know if I'm even pronouncing this right, so just stick with me. Okay, so Spears Angel Tommy in the state of New Mexico. New Mexico's governor's race. We have Micheal versus Mark. Who is going to win? The Democrat or Republican? And tell me the story. What's going on in the state of New Mexico's governor's race? What's going on in New Mexico's governor's race? What's going on? What's going on, Spears? Tell me what's happening in the governor's race in New Mexico. I feel like it's not trying to tell me. Maybe it's the wrong deck. Maybe it's not as big as expected. Maybe it's just like a minor. So we're going to use this one. The Spears, tell me about New Mexico governor's race, Micheal versus Mark. Who's going to win? Okay, so it feels like to me it's kind of undecided right now. It's a toss-up, and what it's indicating to me is the governor's race in New Mexico is so needs people to come out and vote tomorrow, and that it feels like it's so tight that there is no clear victor because it could be either one of them, and it feels like it's really up to the voters tomorrow. So we'll see who's going to end up as governor in New Mexico. So there's no winner. That's why they didn't come up. Okay, next one, Maine. All right, so Spears handle Tommy in state of Maine. Maine, we have Janet T. Mills versus Paul R. LePage. I really mispronounced that, LePage or something. Spears handle, tell me about Maine governor's race. Who's going to win, the Democrat or Republican? Who's going to win the state of Maine governorship? Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. So it feels like in a way, here's what's going on. The Republicans in the state of Maine are not very happy right now with what's going on with the Democratic Party, right? The Republicans. But what I'm seeing here, the voters, the liberal Republicans in the state of Maine, who normally kind of like crossover voters from like Trump to Hillary, or Hillary to Trump, or Clinton to Biden. I mean, Clinton and Trump, or whatever the combination is there. They're liberal Republicans in the state of Maine. Yeah, what is indicated here that they're not going to go to the Democrats, they're just going to go to the third party. So I feel like a third party in the state of Maine is going to have better showing in the governor's race, what's going to kind of lower the Republican margin. And it's really all depends in the governor's race now for the Democrats to increase their turnout in order to have a shot at winning. As of now, I see the Republicans still going to take the lead here. I think the Republicans are going to end up winning in the state of Maine. And that even if they're losing voters, there's not going to be enough to kind of stop them. But it really depends on whether or not these independent voters will say, you know what, I'm going to vote Democrat instead. But most likely they're going to vote third party because they don't like either party. So it's almost like an FU to the two-party system. This is what's going on in the state of Maine. So watch out for that governor's race. Okay. You're born in Maine, so how do you feel about that, Paula? You feel like it resonates with you, or? Okay, in the state of Michigan, we have Grisham Whitmer versus Tudor Dixon. In the state of Michigan governor's race, Spears and Angel. Who is going to win Michigan's governor's race, Spears and Angel? Is it going to be a Democrat or a Republican? What's going on in Michigan's governor's race? What's the story here? What's the story? Okay. All right, hold on. What is the story in Michigan governor's race? Gresham Whitmer versus Tudor Dixon. Final card. Final card, Spirit. Thank you. Okay, so here is the challenge. Okay, good. I feel like I'm glad it resonates, Paula. So we have the three pentacles, and the three pentacles card here is reversed, and that is kind of showing and talking about voters, and it feels like in a way people are kind of like almost like in the state of Michigan specifically. I feel like people are kind of like so messed up, so angry at the two-party system that they're kind of like not registering as a Democrat or Republican anymore. I feel like Michigan might have a higher increase, or at least right after the governor's election, there's going to be a high increase of independent voters in Michigan. They're no longer going to identify as Democrat or Republican. This is what's going on in the state of Michigan. This is the story going on right now. We have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is indicating that even though those independent voters who don't lean Democrat or Republican, I feel like the current incumbent governor, who is Gresham Whitmer, is going to try to get those voters. But at the same time, Dixon is also going to go after those voters as well to try to convince them to vote for them. We have the challenge here to voters. Voter turnout. We have a generational divide, family among families between different age groups, from Gen Z to millennial to Gen X to Gen Y. We have, the baby boomer. We have the silent generation, if they're still around. I'm not exactly sure, but don't quote me on that. But regardless of what it is, we do have here, it is indicating that there's going to be a generational divide in the state of Michigan. There are some people who have voted Grisham Whitmer. There are some voted Tudor Dixon, and some are voting heavily in favor of the third-party candidate, if there is one. But regardless of whatever happened, I do see a generational divide going on in Michigan. There's going to be even clear come election day. There might be indicating that there might be a higher young voter turnout in Gen Z. But yeah, so we have the left side here. It's like kind of competitive, but it's kind of not. I feel like because of what happened with Gresham Whitmer, she's going to be able to make the case to say, listen, you guys made people try to kidnap me and try to make a case to the Michigan voters. However, the problem with the Michigan voters, there are some people in Michigan who were very glad that it happened or wish that it could have went further. So there is that a little aspect there as well that some people have compassion, but a lot of people lack empathy, specifically in the voters in Michigan. So it does not stay a clear outright winner, but most likely than not, it looks like it's going to be Gresham Whitmer who wins the governor's race in Michigan. In the state of Georgia, we have Brian Kemp versus Stacey Abrams. Let's take a look at that. So Spears and Andrew Tommy, Georgia. Okay. That was quick. Like once I said the word Georgia, just like throw up. Okay, so Spears and Andrew clarification here. In the state of Georgia, Brian Kemp versus Stacey Abrams. What is the story going on right now in the state of Georgia's governor's race? Okay. All right. The story is kind of crazy because it goes back and forth for whoever is the governor here. Because we have the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is kind of like victory, people celebrating. But what it's indicating here, do not celebrate early. Even if the winner is declared on the governor's race in Georgia, do not trust that yet. Now, I'm not saying that, there's going to be some sort of fraud going on, but it is indicating here that that is going to be challenged. And it feels like, in a way, that even if it is clear it has been secured, it's going to be challenged in some way or form. The next card that follows here is the Moon card. And the Moon card is indicating hidden voters, people who haven't really voted are going to come out to vote. So the question is, the polls may be indicating that, the Democrats or the Republicans might be ahead in the state of Georgia, but it is indicating that there's going to be new voters that have not been accounted for in those polls. Therefore, that we won't really know what they're thinking or how they're going to vote until election day. Because in the end, those people tend to lean towards Stacey Abrams, which is this card here, and the Empress card, right? And this is on the back end of abortion. So I feel like those new voters might be Gen Z coming out to vote specifically heavily in the state of Georgia. We have the Hierophant. Now, this is where it gets a little weird. But it gets a little weird because we have the Hierophant, and we have Brian Kemp win the governorship in Georgia, but so does Stacey Abrams. Right? That's what's really weird. It almost feels like either the media makes a projection very similar to 2000 where they call it too early, but then they have to retract it, or in a way that, sticky. Okay, anyway, sorry. Or it could be end up in one of those scenarios where Brian Kemp declares victory early, or even Stacey Abrams does, and the vote is still being counted in some way. But there is going to be a kind of like almost like a clash on who's going to be the governor. And it feels like it's going to be very hard to really tell what happened, right? It's going to be very similar to what happened in Florida in 2000. We have this card reversed, and the card kind of indicates stolen election. This election is not stolen. And I think that's going to be very clear. that it's not stolen, but it feels like in a way that there's some sort of confusion beyond the Stacey Abrams camp and Brian Kemp camp. And it feels like in a way that they're going to come to the consensus that it wasn't a stolen election. There was confusion that was built inside the election system that confused people when they're voting. And so it kind of screwed up the result to the point where both of them are declared the victor. We do have here, though, we do have the Knight of Cups. Now, the card is indicating here, pass on the torch to the next individual. This could be indicating that Brian Kemp might just say, well, I got a chance to become governor. I'm just going to do the right thing by the people in Georgia and just give you and allow you to become governor. Or this might be indicating that Stacey Abrams says, you know what, for the good of the country and for the good of democracy, I'm willing to allow you to stay on as governor, but I'll be able to challenge you in the next election. And so it feels like in a way there's going to be kind of like a calmer and better approach in this Georgia race than what happened in 2020. And in the end, I feel like don't celebrate too early. It's really what it's indicating here. Okay. What do you guys feel about that reading? How do you guys resonate with that? Here, we don't have Alaska, so we're not doing Alaska. Okay, the next one, Minnesota. We have Tim Walz versus Scott Jensen. Spirit Angels, tell me about Minnesota's governor's race. We have Minnesota's Tim Walz versus Scott Jensen. Oh my God. Scott J. That's what we're going to call him. Spirit Angels, tell me in Minnesota, in governor's race in Minnesota. Who is going to win the governor's race in Minnesota? We have Tim versus Scott. Okay, we'll take it. Hi, Chippy. Can you lay down, baby? That's my little dog. Okay. I don't know if there's a Republican or a Democrat governor here in the state of Minnesota. Spirit Angel, tell me clarifiers for what's going on in the state of Minnesota's governor's race. Thank you. So we have the Ace of Swords reversed. And normally, a lot of you guys who've been with me for 2 years, you all know that this is kind of taking a knife and stabbing the incumbent, removing them from power, which is why the sword goes through the crown. It's reversed, what indicates the incumbent had the incumbency factor. It allows them to be able to have recognition among the state, where people have a tendency to keep to refuse change. So we have the Six Cups here. And this is kind of staying with the past, going back to what happened with the specific governor and the things that took place. Now, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with this governor or what even happened, or if there's some sort of scandal. But in the end, there is some sort of walking away. And this is the Five of Pentacles here. And the Five of Pentacles is indicating that there is going to be some sort of loss. That could be indicating there's a loss for the Democrats, or it could be indicating a loss for the Republican. But it is indicating that there's something going on that people, voters in Minnesota, remember. I am being shown Black Lives Matter, but there might be something else that is indicating. Well, that is so cute. There might be something else here that is indicating that there might be something that is on voters' mind in the state of Minnesota. I don't know what happened, but there's something big that happened that people are kind of upset about. Now, we have the Five of Wands. Whatever the result is, it's going to be contested. People are going to be fighting. I feel like the potential chance in the state of Minnesota for violence to occur. Now, this might not even be indicating on, the governor's election overall. That might indicate the violence, but it is going to be what's taking place. So this also be indicating Black Lives Matter or some sort of violence, maybe mass shooting, maybe something like that had erupted or roared the people who are upset at how it was handled in the state. We do have here in the end, we do have the King of Cups. I'm going to say the Democrat. If the Democrat is the governor, they're going to lose. I feel like the Republican might actually pick up the seat in Minnesota's governor's race. And we have the King of Cups. This is my Biden card, the Democrat in power with even turmoil. I don't think he's going to be able to handle the strength of the Republican Party enthusiasm in the state of Minnesota. I'm going to probably say if it's a Republican in power in the governorship already, the Republicans lose and the Democrats pick up the governor's seat in Minnesota. If the Democrat is the governor in Minnesota, I'm going to say that the Republicans pick up the seat in governorship in Minnesota and Democrats end up losing. So whoever is in power right now is the one that's going to lose. And that's how the energy is going in. Okay, the next one, Oklahoma. Then we got Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, and New York, and that's it. So Spirit Angels Tommy in the state of Oklahoma with Joy versus Kevin in the state of Oklahoma's governor's race. Who is going to win Oklahoma's governor's race? Democrat or Republican? Tell me the story going on in Oklahoma's governor's race. What's going on? Thank you. Okay, so we have okay. Spirit Angel Tommy, is this the Democrat or Republican? Okay, so the Republican actually might lose the governorship in Oklahoma. It might be very competitive to the point where the Democrat might be elected in a deep red state as governor. But we do have the Four of Pentacles. They don't like what's going on in the state. And I feel like there might be a high crime rate, but I see a lot of wilderness. So it might be indicating climate or extreme heat. Whenever it is, there is some sort of thing that is driving the motivators for a Democratic governor in Oklahoma. But we do have here, I don't think the Republican or the incumbent, whoever is the incumbent in Oklahoma is not going to win. If it's a Democrat, they're going to lose. If it's a Republican, they're going to lose. So whoever is the incoming party, they're going to lose. We do have here, though, we do have the Three of Cups. It is indicating a victory nonetheless. It's going to be a celebrated victory. I feel like this is going to be a victory for women. So it might be indicating a Democrat. Okay. Here it is. We got the next one. We have Pennsylvania. We have Josh Shapiro versus Douglas Mastriano. So Spirit Angel Tommy in the state of Pennsylvania's governor's race. Doug Mastriano versus Josh Shapiro, the Democrat versus the Republican. Who is going to end up as victor in Pennsylvania's governor's race? Who's going to win Pennsylvania's governor's race, Spirit and Angel? Who's going to win? Or show me the story. Okay. There's a lot of undecided voters right now in Pennsylvania. That's what I'm seeing. I mean, that's the no-brainer, but that's what the cards are telling me. So I'm just going to tell you what I see. What's going on in the Pennsylvania's governor's race, Spirits and Angels? What's going on? Thank you. So these are all challenges to the governor's race right now. We have here people kind of feel like in the state of Pennsylvania, a lot of those people, like I said, they're toss-up voters and independent voters, have not made up their mind. But in terms of the Democrat and Republican, they already did. They already voted. They know who they're going to vote for. It's kind of straightforward. Now it just literally depends on the independent voters. That is the challenge to the governor's race. We do have the Hierophant. I don't know if the Democrat is a Republican or a Democrat is in charge in the governor's race in Pennsylvania, but I have a feeling that they're going to lose. Or at least it's going to be so competitive that we might not even know who the winner is going to be. At least until, the vote is finished counting and people have finished voting, we're going to know. But this is an eclipse. What tells me here that part of the eclipse is that this is going to be a new leader in power. So I have a feeling right now that we're going to have a brand new governor in Pennsylvania. This card is reversed right now because it's indicating here that there is going to be a change, but it has not occurred yet in Pennsylvania because people are still going out to vote. People are still out to vote tomorrow, which means that could really change the race. But as of right now, there's going to be someone new in the governor's house in Pennsylvania. It seems like a lot of change going on for both the Democrats and the Republicans. Okay, we have state of Florida, Charlie Crist versus Ron DeSantis. Okay. That would do it. Okay. So we have both Charlie Crist and we have Ron DeSantis here. What's it? The Charlie Crist is the Queen of Swords reverse, and Ron DeSantis is the double reverse. Right, we have the Moon card here, and then we have the Three of Wands reverse. You're welcome, my love. So we have the moon card, and the moon card is indicating the eclipse, right? I talked about the hidden voters, the people who haven't voted, who are not accounted for, who are going to really change the race, either for the better or for the worse, really. And the moon card is indicating here that there is something hidden, and this might be hidden for Charlie Crist voters. Potentially those voters, they're saying right now, the polls might be indicating that Charlie Crist is going to lose, but in retrospect, those voters have never voted before. So how can they be acquainted for if they have never voted ever, right? That's what's really important here. The next card here is followed by the Three of Wands here, which is my election night card. And it's reversed. It's watching the destruction of election night play out. It's reversed, but indicating that we might not even have a governor or a well-known winner in the state of Florida. I feel like it's going to be too close to call at this time, or the vote count is still counting. We do have the devil card reversed, and this is Ron DeSantis here. Let me see if I can get more of a storyline going. The Spirit Angel tell me, can I have some clarifiers for the storyline in Florida's governor's race? What's going on? Okay, so we have the Lovers card here, and this is kind of indicating the relationship between election night and voters between Ron DeSantis and Florida. So this is really indicating, hi Clarence, this is really indicating, specifically for May, it is indicating that the voters in Florida are unhappy, specifically with how he handles Hurricane Ian, right? And I do feel like there is kind of like a sour taste in their mouth right now, a little bit of sour, and that is what's really coming through. Yeah, there's going to be kind of like, in a way, they kind of don't like that Florida is kind of laughing stock of the country right now. They really don't like that. We also have the double card reverse as well. So, yeah. Okay, so we have Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords here. I feel like, in a way, Charlie Crist had a viable shot at beating Ron DeSantis in the governorship. So it's going to be a lot closer than expected. Like I said, these voters are not accounted for. These are brand new voters who are backing Charlie Crist, who have not voted yet. We do have here, in a way, those Republicans, but also the victory of Charlie Crist winning in the state of Florida here is that Ron DeSantis lose voters to the third-party candidate. And enough so that Charlie Crist will be able to clinch the governorship in Florida. So I have a feeling, in a way, that Ron DeSantis will lose enough voters and Charlie Crist will be able to gain enough voters to offset that to make him win. And we do have here in the end, I see the double card reverse. I think Ron DeSantis is going to lose. Yeah, he's going to lose. He doesn't have the proper campaign funds, and Donald Trump is going against him, what basically indicates here that the voters are not going to back Ron DeSantis as strongly as Donald Trump. Because if they re-elect him, he is challenging Donald Trump in 2024. If they don't elect him, then he is not going to be able to challenge because he didn't have the popular mandate in Florida. So I don't think Ron DeSantis is going to do as well as expected in the state of Florida. I think Charlie Crist can really overtake him. Also, fun fact, Charlie Crist was the former governor in Florida. And he was also a Republican and independent and is now a registered Democrat. So he's been across many different aisles, many different political ideologies. So it's really interesting how Florida is going to play out for Charlie Crist because he is all 3 in 1. He is the package deal. So, Charlie, you can get someone like Ron DeSantis, or you can get someone who Charlie Crist, who people know and understand and, can feel comfortable with the idea of having Charlie Crist as governor. Okay. We have the next one here. We have one more race, which is New York. This is the second to last. So we're going to talk about Texas. Beto O'Rourke versus Greg Abbott. This is going to be real interesting. Let's see. Who do you guys think are going to win in Texas? Spirit Angel tell me in Texas, in the state of Texas, governor's race. Beto O'Rourke versus Greg Abbott. Who is going to become the next governor in Texas? Who's going to become the next governor in the state of Texas? The Democrat or the Republican? Who's winning? What's the story here? What's the story in Texas? You want to know, Beto O'Rourke really gives me the energy of JFK, and so does John Ossoff. Yeah. Okay, Spirit Angel, tell me what's going on in the state of Texas governor's race. Tell me the story, what's happening. Is it a Democrat or a Republican victory? Interesting. Okay, so we have here on the left side here, we have this guy, Beto O'Rourke. What's he on the left side here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of Pentacles, right? He's looking at the voters and saying, I'm missing something. Right? He's missing something. On the right side here, though, we have the 9 of Pentacles, and this is Greg Abbott. He has the money, he has the money, he has the campaign. It almost feels like, in a way, it feels like what it is indicating to me that now the missing energy could either mean two things, right? It could be indicating that, okay, Beto O'Rourke didn't get the vote that he needed in order to become governor. But what it also is, because remember what I said here, it feels like there's something missing, is what he's saying. It feels like something is off, something is missing. And look at what Greg Abbott has. He has a lot of votes. But look how calm he is for a race that is expected to be competitive. What it might be indicating here is that this is video just for entertainment purposes only. It might be indicating that the Texas governor's race might be stolen. Now, I'm not saying stolen in the aspect that it is taken away from Beto, but the fact that, quote, some ballots or, voting ballots will go missing, or even be hidden or taken away or something like that. So there's going to be some sort of voting ballots missing. What else are we going to see in the state of Texas? When it's all said and done, in the next 6 months, who is going to be governor in Texas? Is it going to be Democrat or Republican? Is it going to be Beto O'Rourke, or is it going to be Greg Abbott? There's going to be an investigation for sure. Okay. There's going to be an investigation because we have no victor in the state of Texas. There's no victor. There's no Democrat. There's no Republican. Look what's here. They don't even know who actually won. They don't even know who won. It feels like, in a way, in Texas, there's going to be some sort of election crisis. There's going to be some sort of ballot crisis that goes on in Texas that kind of like shaked up the race. Spirit Angel, tell me, in the state of Texas, Beto O'Rourke versus Greg Abbott, what is going on here? Is it going to be a Democrat or a Republican in the next 6 months? What's happening in the state of Texas? Is it going to be Beto O'Rourke, or is it going to be Greg Abbott who wins? In the end, it's going to be Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke is the rightful victor, it appears here. He is going to have enough votes. He's going to be able to contain it. But it feels like, in a way, to get there, it's going to be a lot. It's going to take a lot of energy out of him. And in the end, he's going to end up as victorious. And that Greg Abbott is going to have to walk away. And this is him. So in the next 6 months, I do see Beto O'Rourke becoming governor in Texas. However, the key aspect here is that Beto O'Rourke cannot concede, because if he concedes, he acknowledges that he lost and cannot take that back. However, it is indicating here that there's going to be, if he allows himself to keep pushing forward for a recount and, investigation to make sure everything is counted correctly and there's nothing missing, then he can concede. But it feels like, in a way, in the state of Texas right now, it feels like he is projected to win as long as he continuously pushing to make sure that he gets exactly what he deserves. And now making sure that the voters in Texas actually have a viable stay without some sort of manipulation of some sort. Yeah. Right. So it does feel like, in a way, it does feel like Beto O'Rourke, it's going to be the winner, but there's going to be some crazy stuff that's going to go down in the state of Texas. So definitely watch out for that. How do you guys feel about that? And how do you feel about the information with Texas? It's a little bit crazy than I anticipated. Well, I'm not really surprised, to be honest. Look at, like, what I'm seeing in my eyes right now is I'm seeing, like, he's setting up, like, mail-in ballots, like, where you put the thing in, like, that little, like, mail booth or whatever, where you put your mail in it and then they bring it to the post office. I feel like I'm seeing it, like, almost like it's, like, been put there but then it gets driven off away and it never makes it to the polling stations. And I'm also seeing that one of the ways that they're gonna find it is that they're gonna open up the truck, and there's gonna be a whole bunch of them in there. And there's gonna be like, oh, we forgot to count those, and then those will be counted, and then the results are gonna change. So it feels like in a way it's gonna be inside of a truck, and that's where all the votes are. Right? It's gonna be accidentally forgotten. So the last one of the night, we have New York, Kathy Hochul versus Lee Delden. Now, this is really interesting because Lee Delden I had here. If you go to my YouTube channel here, let's go down. I am going to pull this up right now. I'm going to go to present. I want to show you guys something. This is what I got in the past. It's some sort of challenge that I had to like tell you guys in the what's it call it, in the community page. So let me go down. It's like an intuition type of thing. Let's scroll down. Where is that? Kathy Hochul. Where is that? I had a Kathy Hochul type of thing where I said how much she was going to win by. It might be down further. Let me look. Okay, here it is. So this is 1 month ago. This was on September 18th. And I said I got the New York governor's race. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, you guys can see it. Okay. So if you look here, I said here that Kathy Hochul, I got the New York governor's race will be closer than expected. I see my current governor, which is Kathy Hochul, beating my current district representative, Lee Delden. Yes, she is my representative in Congress. And the closest outcome I saw was that the Democrat Hochul will, but the closest, if it was really close, Kathy Hochul will win 53 to 47 Delden. The largest outcome that I saw for Kathy Hochul will be 56 to 44 Delden. So it's going to be quite an interesting margin, to say the least. And what makes it even more interesting, if you look at the time in which I sent it, I said September 18, 2022 at 11:01 p.m. That is an angel number 111, which means new beginning. Which is Kathy Hochul will be elected for the first time because she is not an elected governor yet. So I do see, in the end, I do see her as victory, but we're going to see what the tarot cards say. But I just wanted to make sure I made that known, that this is what I said in terms of projection or what I got in my intuition and vision or stuff like that. All right, let's ask. Conspiracy Angel Tommy, with, in the state of New York, governor's race with Kathy Hochul versus Lee Delden. Who's going to win the governor's race in New York? The Democrat or Republican? Who's winning the governor's race in New York? Is it going to be Kathy Hochul, or is it going to be Lee Delden? What's going to happen? What's the storyline in the governor's race in New York? Okay, that's too many cards. Got to put the back. Oh, actually, it's not that many. We'll use that. Why not? Okay, so we have the Chariot card here in reverse. We have the Lover's card reverse. We have competitive reverse. We have the Knight of Wands reverse. We have the Ace of Swords reverse. I mean, it's Ace of Swords upright. And then we have the Six of Cups reverse. Okay, Conspiracy Angels Tommy in the New York governor's race. Kathy Hochul versus Lee Delden. Who's going to win in the state of New York governorship? A Democrat or Republican? Who do you guys think are going to win? Okay, so we have here, though, it is indicating the voters are not happy. I can tell you that right off the bat. I live here. Okay, I live right along Island. My district is a battleground state. I have a battleground district for Kathy Hochul. She does not win my district. She basically is going to be having a very tough race. We have the Chariot card. And the Chariot card is indicating to me that she's not going to be going to the governorship smoothly. That has been self-explanatory. Everybody knows that. You know, when she first became governor, there was an energy of negativity around her, and that is because of her intention. Even though, she's a Democrat in a way, she kind of doesn't seem pure. And that's the problem with Kathy Hochul. People don't really like her. And, I can tell you that based on intuition and connection energetically to her. We do have the Lover's card. There is a disconnect between Democratic voters or men in general with Kathy Hochul. So I feel like in a way there's going to be a gender divide between Kathy Hochul and Lee Delton. One group is going to dominate in one gender, and the other one's going to dominate in another gender. And that's what's going to be really key here. It's going to be who is going to come out and vote, but whoever had the highest turnout is most likely going to win in the governor's race in New York. Now, the problem is we do have the Two of Pentacles. It feels like it's not going to be so competitive where it forces a recount. So I do not see a recount in New York. However, we do have the Knight of Wands here. And the Knight of Wands is reversed. The voters are not going to turn away right now from the Democratic governorship if it's not handled after this election. I can definitely tell you without a doubt we're going to have a Republican governor. However, as of now, it's a Democratic governor winning this election. But the next one, if the Democratic governor, Kathy Hochul, does not get things done, she will lose the next one, or even another Democrat will lose. We do have the Ace of Swords here. And this Ace of Swords here is indicating an incumbent being kicked off the throne. And I feel like what this is indicating here is that New York is not going to be one of those reliable blue states anymore. It's not going to be one of those reliable blue states that no matter what you can ignore and just, it doesn't matter. New York, like I said before, if you guys have listened to me, like 2 years ago when I first started doing the YouTube video, I said that New York, Illinois, and California were going to be new swing states going into the 2030s. New York is going to be one of those swing states. New York will be a swing state, probably not in the next election cycle, not in 2024, but 2028. It's going to start to become closer and closer to a swing state. So definitely keep an eye out for that. However, New York will lose its blue status. It's going to be competitive. So if you are a New Yorker, well, now at least you know that people are actually going to try to get your vote. We do have here, though, the Six Cups here. This is the past. They're going to kind of remember what happened in the past, and the Democrats had a lot of history as governor in New York, which means that there's going to be a lot of baggage. There's a lot of skeleton for the Democrats that she needs to overcome. And in the end, we do have here her winning, but not by a comfortable margin, where it's going to be kind of with the laser lid closed off, where she can contain it. She needs to be able to, be able to govern effectively and make sure that she's actually getting things done, because she is not. I do see an impeachment occurring, or even a force of removal or resignation coming from Kathy Hochul. So, so in the end, she's going to end up winning, but at what cost? And at the end of the card here, we do have voters. And this is kind of telling me the lack of an engagement for both political parties. But it's also engaging as well, because it's going to be the first time New York is competitive in almost like forever. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how that's playing out. Anything else in the state of New York, Spirit? Yeah, in the end, it's going to be a walking away. Lee Delton is really going to solidify himself as an opponent for the Democrats, and going to really make a name for himself on the Republican platform. So definitely be expecting Lee Delton to really make a name for himself on the Republican side. So he may even lose the governor, but that doesn't mean he's not running for Senate next time. So I do see him moving forward in the political arena. So this is all that I get for the governor's race right now for everything. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye.